I stand up here. It's all been about an informed choice, and the British Broadcasting Corporation is known to appear as an informed choice. Are we really informed? I'd like to know a couple of things, like Fukushima. There is an impending humanity natural disaster going on there. There's 300 tons of contaminated water being leaked every day in the Pacific Ocean. Why are we not informed about this? Iceland, social revolution going on. They held their bankers accountable and they took them to court. Why are we not hearing about this? 99% of their energy is from renewable sources. Why are we not hearing about this? That's possibly my two main points. But come on, BBC, let's give us some information. Let's make us informed. Knowledge is power, people. Why do we not get the knowledge?
Cheers, Sarah. Nice one. And now we have Dave from Occupy, who's going to talk, I should think about economics.
Yeah, it's that bad. It's going to be that bad. I'm trying to look plausible here, guys. Okay, let's make it clear. I support the existence of a BBC which we all pay for, and which either tells the story as it is, but warped or slanted by establishment interests, or which at least puts on the table, in a valid way, alternative narratives, ways which are not backed by the financial sector, which crucially funds the three major political parties. Okay, so we don't expect straightforward reporting from the tax avoiding billionaires or trusts which comprise the rest of the media, but we do have some hopes for the BBC. As a stakeholder in this outfit of ours, however, I'm confused. At the time when I got Occupy's 2 minutes on Newsnight after being dressed up in a ski outfit on a fake indoor ski slope, they just discovered Jeremy Paxman's tax avoidance and weren't very keen to hear me going on about tax dodging in general. Of course I did, several times, but the version which went out, all I did was mention twice that it existed. Still, 2 months later, a letter to the Times, dear old Jeremy fesses up and says, we're all forced into these self-employed companies by top management, and his colleagues push the same line, and every time I write an email about tax avoidance, I get 5 offers on the internet telling me how to do it, so God knows what they're exposed to. When, in due course, BBC management say that they'll stop it, we get another protest from the staff saying, no, we like it the way it is. So yeah, I'm confused. So that's my intro to using language I never thought I was going to use in public. The BBC is imbued with institutional anti-disestablishmentarianism, and it's not a joke. There are serious forces of wistful blindness and self-deception, as well as the obvious political pressures. Now here's the easy bit, how to sort out the economy. The story they won't tell. The crisis is caused by the unremitting transfer in the distribution of wealth and income from wages, even bankers' wages, to interest, dividends and rents. This is a graphic here, guys. Very dodgy source. It's from the United Nations, Geneva, 2014. You get the idea? It's going downhill all the way from the 1970s to now. That is what has been going on, and that is what has fragilized the economy by a whole raft of measures which is parasitising you. Okay, how that wealth has been transferred through dodgy banking, finance and tax legislation is a great fascinating story, but don't worry, I won't give you all of it now. 2 weeks after Occupy put it on a parliamentary blog, the Director for Financial Responsibility at the Bank of England said Occupy's economic analysis is correct. Now, that was after all the headline, wasn't it? Do you remember?
I remember.
Well,
I remember.
Okay. Basically, as the rich go on tax strike and squirrel their ill-gotten gains into tax havens, 21 trillion minimum, by the way, that's $3,000 for every human being on this planet. Real demand from everybody else across the economy drops, while demand by the super rich, the silly paper assets, balloons. And as the balloons are about to burst, they get reinflated by legislatively captured, I can say that again, legislatively captured national governments who pay them off with our taxes and which were meant to help not just us saying you're being parasitised by the economic elite. The IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund, who did so much to continue colonialism by other means, is calling for an international 10% wealth tax. Yeah, when are we going to hear that from any of these guys? They know that the multimillionaires at the top must pay back. Does the BBC tell you that our finance sector is too big for the rest of the economy? The Bank for International Settlements does. That's the central bank of the central banks, which we're going to close down because of their laundering Nazi loot. Why does financial sector growth crowd out real economic growth? Piketty and Karubi, September 2013, okay, from the BIS. Come on, BBC, give us your explanation. By the way, I got that reference from the Bank of England website. So, right now, we've got to plan to close the fiscal deficit caused by borrowing to bail out the banks. Rough statistics. We were paying 51 billion a year interest on the national debt at the start of this year. The mid-estimate for tax avoidance is 69 billion. In other words, collect the taxes and you need cut nothing. End the legislative capture of the rich and work back towards the rates we had just after World War II, when the economy grew faster than from Thatcher onwards. I could pile on the economic evidence and solutions long term, but let's get back to let's get back to the way the BBC always supports the way things are and the governments that seem to fund them and to threaten to withdraw their funding. Their chief economist famously outsourced the guilt from the super rich by blaming ordinary people for borrowing, which is a lot less fair even than blaming drug users for leaving drug dealers alone, leaving the drug dealers alone. But what about the evidence that we're all better off in a more equal society? They rubbished it. Listen to the analysis of why it's not true that if we've got a fairer distribution of income, then everybody, even at 1%, are better off. They got a few dodgy put-downs from jealous academics and ignored the weight of the evidence, which if you go into, it's there. We know the facts. Quite a few economists have said the mass of the ordinary people, that's us, know the facts. They don't, why don't they? Willful blindness, they've got to support their own. That's how you carry on. I'm sure you've heard from a lot more people how they're corrupt at the top. At least let's try and work on them to get them a little less corrupt in the middle. And if you want any more economics, facts or data, you want to challenge a thing I say, bring up any other problems, bring it on. We've got the data, we're ready.